welcome back to the AMA Room. We're a group dedicated to give you quality Ask Me Anything sessions about interesting people and projects in the blockchain industry. I'm your host, CryptoPatSu. And for today's episode, I have here the co-founder and CEO of Chromia, Henrik Hjelte. Hi, Henrik. How are you today?
Hi there. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. It's afternoon here and it's morning there, right?
Yes. Stockholm, Sweden is where I'm based. But we have a team that's distributed across the world, of course, like all modern companies.
Are you all working from home?
I think right now everyone is working from home. There is one meeting at the office today. That's the only thing. You want to see how it looks in this country right now?
How's the weather?
I'll show you some weather and some woods and snow.
It must be pretty chilly. Very cold.
Yes, -12. Is that?
Wow.
I think so. -12 degrees.
You had to go outside today at that weather.
Yeah. Actually thinking doing some skiing this weekend.
Does your schedule still allow you to go skiing?
No, I've been working like 3 weekends in a row. So, but I mean, I can take an hour to go skiing. Hope no one complains.
Why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself and tell us how you got into crypto?
I've been a developer since the 80s. So that's like 30 years or something. But I studied economics and political science and started to work as a financial software consultant. And then I became a startup guy, did a web startup, and one of my sort of developers in my team introduced me to Bitcoin.
What year was this?
2012 or 2013. So he started to send me mails Bitcoin 2012, but I think I read it 2013. I read the white paper and I was completely blown away. Now, I was an economist, so I immediately dismissed it, of course, like everyone does when they first hear. But the cool thing is that Alex, this guy that is now a CTO, and he had this idea that you can use Bitcoin for other things than a currency. You could issue tokens on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So this was probably the first user-generated tokens protocol called the Colored Coins project. Yeah, so it was an open source project, and I joined as a developer, but always with an eye to see if we could commercialize it. So eventually we did in 2014. Kind of split up this project into several projects. We had Vitalik Buterin started some other projects that I've heard about, and some other Colored Coins projects, but we started Chromia way.
Good. So you've been into crypto since 2014-13? That's such a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember like first when I was at meetups and talked about tokens, these Bitcoin meetups. No one understood what it was about. That we can issue, shares and do everything, non-fungible tokens.
Nobody got.
Talk about no, yeah.
Those were the early days. Like
I was wondering, really, is there a market for one company that is working with this? Like that's what I think.
Looking at the whole crypto space today and how it has evolved into what like differences have you noticed since when you started?
The growth has been completely crazy. It's not the first time that you're part of something that becomes a global mega trend and a global industry, like from the very, very beginning. So of course, but otherwise, kind of similar ideas are still popping up. Core ideas of that.
Still so much to explore.
Decentralized exchanges. I think we did one, if I remember, 2013.
Oh, before. Wow.
Yeah. But and NFTs, of course, that idea was around for a long time.
Tell us more about Chromia. What is it and how is this different from all your other projects that you did before?
Yeah, I mean, we started off with public blockchains, like doing tokens on Bitcoin, but we discovered that it's not very scalable. It's not very fast. It's highly cumbersome to work with. Why is it difficult to develop on this technology? It's because it is a ledger. Ledger is like a list of transactions. First this transaction, then this transaction, and this transaction. They're chained together. A very simple way of managing data. So it becomes hard for a developer. I want to find something, like how much did I send to person A? I basically need to go through everything in order and see which transaction belongs to A, etc. Sometime we came up with an idea to use a traditional database. I mean, first, it's the technology that's used everywhere in all the enterprises to manage data. So they're storing information in a more structured way. So you have bank accounts, you have account holders, you have transactions stored in different places, and they're joined together, and you can easily find out what is my account, how much did I send to that person. So it's very fast and efficient. So we took that model of managing data and combine it with the blockchain aspects of decentralization and security. So that's basically the core technical idea around Chromia. So Chromia is a new blockchain combining databases with blockchain. We call it like relational blockchain because these databases are called relational databases. So it can work as an independent blockchain, just like Ethereum, EOS, or whatever. But it can also be the layer 2 to complement another blockchain. Like Ethereum transactions or expensive transactions, maybe you can move them and do bulk of work on our blockchain, decrease fees or speed, or make it easier to do development. We share the same vision as the rest of the blockchain industry, basically to do a new world that is fairer and to allow decentralized organizations and decentralized governance and all sort of applications.
So what is like the best use case for Chromia? Like what applications match best with what you offer?
It is a general purpose, but you will see the problems with other blockchains when you do more complex applications that actually needs to work in the real world. It's easy to do prototypes in basically any blockchain, but when you sort of get down to the details, we need this to work with more complex data. We need it to be able to be updated. We need it to be able to change, and it needs to live for 10 years and so on. And we don't want any bugs. When you start to get more complex applications, I think Chromia is, showing its benefits. We can do payments, so you can do that with Bitcoin or Ethereum as well, right? There's a lot of applications that select a database to be the way to structure information.
I believe there's a lot of there's already a number of apps using Chromia, right? Can you share to us which apps these are?
To focus a little bit on gaming, because it can show that we can scale to a large number of transactions, and it can also be a good sort of experimental ground to have the complete logic on chain or have governance, etc. So there's a lot of interest in blockchain gaming, and we just released a new standard for NFTs. We call it originals, that have a lot of more new features compared to the existing ways to manage items. There is a game that is being sort of started now called My Neighbor Alice. I like the look of. It's kind of a game inspired by Animal Crossing, is like on Nintendo Switch game that's become. You have like a world where you can interact, etc. And it's like not very masculine or combat or anything. It's like kind of cute. So the idea is that to attract a large audience of non-blockchain players, we want something that's useful for non-blockchain players, but also blockchain benefits.
I also did see one game in Chromia that's the Minds of Dalarna. But that one's just that one's still on testnet, right?
we are on testnet with our blockchain as well. I mean, we started off with the first edition of the mainnet, but it's not completely up for anyone to install all the applications. So, we'll get to there. So, but we can still do applications, but not on the proper launch.
Not yet
1.0. So, Minds of Dalarna, that game is basically an action game. An old tradition of mining games.
Right.
I think they were in the 80s.
It kind of has the feel of an old game. I've tried playing it earlier.
Yeah. So what's new about it is like to have blockchain things like a real estate market. You have mines which you can dig, but you can also own mines and you can rent it to other players. It is actually quite fun, this game.
Very interesting.
So that's we'll keep developing it and do a proper release. My son is 12 years old and he showed it to the kids in the class and they immediately start to play. So it has some potential, I think.
When is that launching?
This spring, I think. I don't know exact deadlines, but there's also like a roadmap of things to add to that game, so it can be expanded quite a lot.
Right.
Can you tell us about Chromas, the token in Chromia?
Yeah, first, I mean, since we talked about applications, say that that's still more than games. We have enterprise applications, we have social networks, etc. We can go back to that later. So on Chroma, the token, I mean, first, like all blockchains, you need to pay for the use of the blockchains.
Right.
So in Ethereum, for example, you pay per transaction that you do, and the user pays. Like you have to pay for when you send something. Chromia is slightly different. Instead of the users paying, it's the application developer that pays, or the application itself. You need to pay for hosting an application on the Chromia network because the application will consume hardware resources, etc. So it costs something. So a little bit more like the cloud model, where the application developers takes an application and puts it on a cloud provider from Amazon, Google, or Microsoft, or smaller providers, and you pay per month or how much you use and how good is the hardware that you use, and then you monetize by doing a good app that someone pays for, or make advertising revenue. So we have the similar model. Users don't pay, application developers pay, basically. So that's one use, and there's also like normal blockchain uses. You can stake it. Providers can use it as insurance, basically making sure that if you are providing hardware resources or other resources in the network, you are punished if you don't live up to the service levels, etc. So with blockchain, you can have that automatically. So there's no. So and it can also be used as a currency to go between games, etc., and or between different cryptocurrencies as well. We have like an automatic contract which can switch between Ethereum and Chroma. Right now it's living on Ethereum, but will be a native token that can be migrated between those tokens. So when we launch mainnet, it will be a token.
Well, does it also have governance use, the Chroma?
We are still sort of designing a little bit on how the governance model is. So I don't know exact details. That's in my CTOs. It will not be in the same way exactly like it is in other blockchains. Like we don't want the risk of like centralization risks if someone who's controlling the vote, etc. And can you do pools that have enormous power? So we want to have like a mixture of things. So but it might be an ingredient, but it might be.
It's not final yet, the government side.
Maybe it is, but except that I cannot speak about it now. I don't know everything. I'm just a CEO. So.
Right.
Have you already launched, and can they buy Chroma in Dexis today or not yet? And when?
Yeah. I mean, it's launched on quite a lot of exchanges, and so it's living on Ethereum network, and you can buy it on DEXs, on traditional exchanges,
Okay.
etc. It will be a native token or convertible to a native token like later this year.
Nice.
When we launched the mainnet program.
When are you launching on mainnet again?
I don't know exact dates. We're still on the roadmap of doing it, but we hope that it will be soon.
This
usually.
year?
But it's I don't know what's wrong with this industry. People give out promises that they never hold. Like that goes for the big blockchains as well. And this is not the way that software development normally takes. You can't say the exact dates of things. This
Correct.
needs to be secure, and we could. If we have like a date, you can chunk out something, but you want it to be completely secure and developed, etc.
Correct.
So I'm not a big fan of pushing for these roadmaps with dates, etc. So.
And can you tell us about your team? Like, how big is Chromia?
I mean, we have 3 co-founders. Alex, our CTO, this super guy that invented tokens, and we have Or, like been in crypto since 2011, I think, or even 2012. We did a Bitcoin wallet together with a CTO of Ripple at the time. That became the CTO of Ripple. So he's been in the space for a very long time. I don't know exactly how many we are. We have some consultants and some full-timers, but around 30 involved, I would say, both on business development and tech teams, of course. One team in Ukraine, one team in Vietnam, one in Croatia, and individual developers spread all over the place.
Very diverse.
Well, yeah, we like to, but it's not that easy to find.
It's hard to
It's hard to find, for example.
You said you wanted to go back to the applications that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, there's so much. We have a company, CapChap, that we did together with a legal company, which we are shareholders. They are now an independent team. So they are doing basically a share registry or a cap table and corporate affairs and how to manage a company, intended to like work in the real world with real companies. And so we started off in Sweden, basically, where we're based. So because adapting to all the legal things, you can't do that globally at the same time. Realistically, you need to pick somewhere to start. So that's one project, CapChap. We have there is a company, Green Assets Wallet, that do green bonds, environmental impact reporting. So green financial products. For example, if you try to build a energy efficient building, you can fund it builder by issuing a bond. And but then the question is, how do you verify the claims? How do I know as an investor that that building actually delivered what they promised? Was it done with green materials? Did the energy consumption, how did it become? In order to do that, you have a blockchain where you can put that information, like this is how my promises, this is how to be checked, and you have a network of organizations that are checking energy, or IoT devices can put in information. Companies can upload PDFs and have signatures that they actually uploaded the PDFs, so it's not a fake information. And investors can easily find this information, see the chain of evidence, basically. So that's a good case, Green Assets Wallet. We have a decentralized social network that we did called Community. Be nice if we saw a little bit more, but wanted to give some inspiration to have an online forum with moderation, etc. That's completely on chain, a way forward for decentralized social media to be on blockchain. We have DeFi as well. Yeah, forgot Hedget. That's cool.
Wow.
So it's about cryptocurrency options. So slightly more complex than what has been traditional DeFi. But you can hedge your positions, just like options have been used in normal financial world.
Right.
So you have underlying cryptocurrencies, and you can hedge it on hedget.com.
Mhm.
So you have Ethereum and you have Chromia.
Chromia.
And so they go together. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we'll see a DeFi app, to not give any exact promises, but I can do a promise. We will see more DeFi apps.
For sure.
And more enterprise apps and more impact tech apps and more games. These are like things in the pipeline that I know about, or that our team have approached us, and so yeah.
That's nice. That's nice to know.
So many uses for Chromia, and I'm sure like they're gonna be watching out for more applications, right, on Chromia this year.
Yeah, and of course we don't want to build everything ourselves, so we do a few. We like to dabble in various things, but we want to grow the community and the entrepreneurship. We'll have a program to support entrepreneurs more formally, but if you have ideas, you can always reach out to us. And on the enterprise side, we also, we have. I can't go into all that now in this short interview. We have a long history of working with enterprise applications, with governance, with land registration, etc. So a few of these we hope can be on the blockchain, or on the public blockchain. So you can check out our page if you want to read more about those cases.
Right.
That's good. I actually read your white paper, and there's so many benefits. Like building applications on Chromia, because there are so many problems in the current network that most developers are using. So I think like you're really delivering a lot of solutions for developers, and you also have your own RHEL, right? RHEL, that's what you use.
It's a new programming language, and we had to do a new one because we needed to have a database language but still being secure for blockchains. So It's not like we come up with anything new. That was a solid reason for doing a new programming language. So it actually is not only good for blockchain, but it actually improves database development as well, with adding more security. But it's super easy to learn for developers. So that's why you can easily learn it in a day if you're a developer. So, and it's very comfortable, and so it's very, very nice.
Do you teach that programming language to people who are interested?
Yeah, I mean, we have tutorials and so on, and we have been around the world, and people can learn it basically instantly. We have, and we are expanding on tutorials, etc. There are video but the documentation and so on.
It's very interesting, and I'm super excited for you guys. When are you guys launching again? And are you also having a public sale soon?
No, we don't have we already had a pre-sale of our token some time ago. So and it's also quite a lot in circulation, and it's a liquid market, etc. So we have launched like a pre-start of a mainnet. We call it the Bootstrap mainnet to try out things. Now we're testing it and adding some features. So I don't want to give dates, but of course we are urgent for us, of course, to get things out. But they need to be secure and good. We will publish updates, projects, like on our blog and on our upcoming homepage, etc. Pre-sales, there are some projects that are doing pre-sales and so on. Like my neighbor Alice might be doing fundraising, and
they did. They had a successful one, right?
Yeah, I think so. What I heard.
Okay, so that means it's time for flash questions. Are you ready for my questions?
Yeah.
These might not be related to crypto, or can be, so okay. First
one. So I need to be fast, right?
You don't have to go fast. You can take your time. If you want to expound on your answer, that's fine. Okay, so first question is, what is your favorite movie?
Oh, it's so difficult. My favorite movie. Like, do I have time to consume culture, you think, as a CEO of a blockchain startup?
Just one movie. Most
it's so difficult. I would pick Monty Python, The Quest for the Holy Grail, because it's the only movie that I was like laughing completely at. So the leading titles before the movie has started, like already like laughing on the floor, like literally physically on the floor. Laughing. I'm not sure it holds up today, but it's still pretty crazy.
Classic. One of the classics.
Okay, the last food you ate.
A soup yesterday. Yeah, I don't eat breakfast, so trying to skip that.
No breakfast.
To lose
Okay.
some weight.
Favorite band.
Impossible to pick a band.
Right, there's too many genres.
But everything. Yeah, but some of my classics that I always go back to is you have like an indie pop, guitar pop band called The Smiths, of course, from the 80s.
Right.
That were fantastic. We have a sort of a hard rock band from 70s, 80s called Thin Lizzy, which is still underrated. It's kind of soulful heavy metal. And of course, before that, you have things that you appreciated afterwards, like Rolling Stones, etc. There's also an alternative band called Sonic Youth that's very experimental with the way that they use. So I can keep on.
Too many
I
favorites.
go to more recent as well, but
Okay.
some favorite.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs.
Definitely.
Do you have dogs with you right now?
I have like 2 children that wants an animal, and I'm allergic to cats, and I never was a fan of cats, to be honest. I like aquarium fishes, though. So
The fish.
That's where
Just watching the fish. Yeah, they're quite relaxing. I grew up having
Yeah.
a lot of aquariums.
yeah.
I think you're gonna have a hard time picking again, but best TV show for you.
Best TV shows. Right now, I don't watch much TV, so people tell me to watch Silicon Valley, but it's like I'm living it, so I have to watch it.
Okay.
But I'm all like slow as well. But I'm actually watching Game of Thrones now, the whole series, and
Your first time to watch it?
yeah, and like going through all the.
Wow.
Like I'm always behind when it comes to culture because I'm working so much.
Yes.
So don't have
Always busy.
I would say.
How many tokens or coins have you owned ever since you started crypto?
Not that much, I would say. I don't do that much trading because I'm working again. Like I don't have time to go out and watch all this. And to be honest, I should do more, perhaps. But
Okay.
I'm more like focused on like
Developing.
actually, I mean, it's like focused on building sounds a bit strange, but that's what I'm actually passionate about
Right.
technology and doing things more than. I was never here for like investment purposes. I never did stock trading either, even though I was working in finance.
Really?
Potentially, perhaps because I understand that it's very, 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 very hard to pick stocks, etc. Like so, I'm a believer in the index funds and things like that. So.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee all the time.
Coffee. Black?
Like drink 10 cups a day or something like that.
Wow.
At least.
There's so much.
This country is the second biggest coffee consumer in the world. Finland number 1, Sweden number 2.
Sweden number
And
2. Wow.
I'm probably one of the top in
Top
Sweden.
3?
It's like a cup, of course,
Wow.
next to.
Always a cup of coffee with you. Last 2 questions. What superpower would you like to have?
Immortality. Is that good?
Yeah. You can't die. Well, yeah, that's superpower. If you could have a holiday anywhere today, where would you want to go?
I would like to learn diving. So
Where? Like, do you have already like a particular spot that you wanted to go to for diving?
I would, to be honest, I'm doing quite a lot of like business travel to Southeast Asia. So I would like to bring my family to around Asia, so I can
So
show
many
them.
diving spots here, correct?
A little tour around Asia, I would say, with the family.
Yeah. Tropical. Go to the tropical country.
especially now when it's cold.
We're done with the flash questions. That's a fun way to get to know you. I'm sure like people are curious about you also being the CEO of Chromia.
What are the upcoming developments of Chromia that we should know about?
I mean, we are trying to get the mainnet out, so doing all that technical requirements that we need to properly have it so you can install the arbitrary applications. So taking that, of course, that's high prior and will happen soon. We just launched public information about our sort of new token NFT standard called Originals, which of course is going to be used and is being used in some games that are upcoming. You know, I was a little bit vague about upcoming projects and so on. So I think that quite many of them will be announced and started.
I think it's going to be an exciting year for Chromia. A lot of projects ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. And where can they find you? Your socials?
I'm not that social, to be honest. Again, working quite a lot, but you can find me on. I will try to get back to Twitter though. My handle is at Henrik Hjelte in Swedish means hero in English.
Oh, is it?
Of course, our homepage for the project called Chromia.com. CHROMIA.
Do you also have a Telegram group?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So, but the only secure way to link to that is from the homepage, because there might be various scamming groups, etc.
Right. There's so much of that today.
Yeah. So that goes for suggesting to all the projects go to only from their homepage if you want to see.
Even in the early days of blockchain, was there also a lot of scammers during those days?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
But there was more like projects that didn't materialize and people disappearing with money. Yeah, some are very elaborate.
Right.
Really long, trying to trick people. So.
Right.
And even companies, like we had scammers trying to trick our company several times.
Wow. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything you want to say about Chromia or invitation?
Check it out, I would say. On our we have like an upcoming homepage next week, so you should.
Great.
You can do it before and after. There's going to be a lot more information on the new page. And so, thanks for this nice experience, this nice interview.
Thank you, Hank.
So that's it for today's AMA, guys. I hope you had fun learning about Chromia and their CEO, Henrik. You could follow them in their Twitter and their website. I'll be putting them down in the description box below. And if you haven't subscribed here yet, do subscribe and support us so that you will see more AMAs with very important people in the crypto space. We also have a Telegram group if you do want to see more AMAs, and you could follow us on Twitter as well. I'll be placing down the links in the description box below. So thank you so much for watching. See you in our next AMA.